welcome everybody to the 9th annual Downtown History and Beer Tour. My name is Roy Pogorzelski. I'll be one of your, I guess, 3 co-hosts. We got Belinda Crowson. You'll hear from her in a moment. And we got my good friend George Kuhl with me.
Cheers.
George. And today, at our first stop here at Italian Table, we are sampling a beer from Stronghold Brewing Company in Fort Macleod. And they named their brewery in homage to the fort out in Fort Macleod, which is pretty cool. Belinda might add to that a little bit more in her piece. But it's a California common beer. It's called the Cowboy Common from Stronghold.
Another homage,
yeah, the Cowboy Common. There we go. So, George, first impressions. Take a look here.
Yeah, this is the color is kind of a light coppery color, which is right true to style. It's kind of a lagery type of beer. It's got a nice head on it. It's got a nice resinous
aroma. Yeah, wow.
A little bit minty
over here. Am I right?
Minty. Let's have a taste.
A lot of resinous there.
It's a bit malty,
yeah,
which
definitely
is okay.
Comes out there.
The hops are
bit of a caramelly infused kind of taste.
A little bit of that. Yeah, that's right. It's nice and creamy. You notice that it's very smooth.
Yeah, I guess the ABV on this one, 5.7%, so reputable.
Yeah, it's just a little higher than the range. I think the high range is about 5.5 ABV, so this 5.7. So yeah,
that's not bad. I'll get it done. And also the mouthfeel. George, tell us about that mouthfeel when it goes. The aftertaste. You want to get the mouthfeel of it all.
You get a very lush kind of feeling in your mouth. It's got a very dry finish, very very dry.
Yeah.
And that's partly attributable to the yeast and the hops. They have a good combination of drying, giving that dry sensation.
Well, and that dry finish really leads into the next sip, which is always nice. When you have a beer that's kind of good, it flows well, it's got a good mouthfeel. Dry after it finishes into the next sip, and you keep just wanting to sip it.
Yeah, and there's it's a pleasant aftertaste as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, it's a nice. It's full bodied, especially for this style.
What do you think its alcohol by volume is?
Well, I think we said 5.7%.
Yeah.
And the IBUs, I'd say this is probably around 30, 35, maybe a little bit higher than that.
Amazing. Well, hey, it tastes like a good 30 to 35. George, I trust you. And hey, enjoy the Cowboy Common from Stronghold Brewing here at the Italian Table, our first stop. Cheers, everyone. We'll see you at the second. Cheers.
So we're sitting in the Italian Table here at the Sandman Signature, the old Lethbridge Lodge. This building is very much a product of its location. Up until the 1980s, 3rd Avenue South was actually Highway 3. So you wanted to have businesses often located along there. In the 1960s, they developed Scenic Drive. Now, originally what Scenic Drive is today was actually Galt Street, named after Sir Alexander Tilloch Galt. And then in 1910, it was renamed 2nd Street South. And then in the 1960s, Scenic Drive. And the idea with Scenic Drive was to connect Highways 4 and 5 in the south up here to Highway 3, providing that scenic way through the community. In 1977, they requested permission to create a 196-room motor hotel here, which, as I said, became the Lethbridge Lodge. And it opened in 1978. And what a perfect location on Scenic Drive and just off 3rd Avenue. When they built the hotel here, they wanted to have it kind of have historic resonance. So they were going to name some of the rooms after the history, until somebody actually let them know the history of this location. If you go behind this building where the back parking lot is, that's actually where the Point used to be. That was actually Lethbridge's red light district, its area of prostitution from 1908 to 1920. And at one time there were 4 or 5 large brothels back in that area. So when they realized the history they were sitting on, they decided to stay away from a historic naming of the rooms, which probably makes sense. As we're sitting here talking on a beer and history tour, it also makes sense that we're not far from the old brewery. Just a little further north on 1st and 2nd Avenue is where the 6th brewery was constructed in 1901. Now, earlier you would have heard Roy say I might have something to add about the beer. I think it's actually funny that they are drinking beer in homage to the fort in Fort Macleod, because a lot of the British mounted police would have laughed at drinking beer. Beer was left for the Hungarians and the Eastern Europeans, and the good British men of the mounted police would have been drinking their gin instead.